Today, I'm going to take you through the first 50 things that you should do to get the most out of your Samsung Galaxy S25, S25 Plus, or Galaxy S25 Ultra. Now, yes, this is a longer video, but considering how much we all use our phones each day, trust me, it's going to be worth it, as these tips and tricks will help you find hidden new features, preserve battery health, extend battery life, and maximize your Galaxy S25's performance. Alright, so starting off, let me show you how to change the name of your phone. To do this, we're going to go into settings, and then we're going to scroll all the way to the bottom to where we find about this phone, and then here we can tap on rename. Now, why would you want to do this? Well, this is useful. It makes it easier for you to be able to identify your phone if, say, you are connecting via Bluetooth or sharing files. It just makes it important and easy to know that it will be named after you. This way you won't confuse it for any other phone, and of course, making your phone more unique. So I've just named mine Dion's S25. Now this next one is super useful whether you buy your phone new or especially if you buy your phone used, and that is to run a very thorough device checkup. Now Samsung has a wonderful app that actually comes pre-installed on the S25 series, and that is called the Members app. So simply search for that, and there it is. As you can see, we can go ahead and tap onto that to open it. So let's launch the application here. And then once it has launched, we're going to tap onto support, which will be in the bottom right corner once it loads. There it is. We're going to tap on support. And then from here, we're going to tap onto get started. And now it's going to run a very thorough phone diagnostic. Now it's going to check every hardware as well as software component of this phone. Now, this diagnosis will take some time. In fact, it takes about 5 minutes, and there are also parts where you have to kind of input. So say you have to tap the screen in certain areas or listen for a certain sound. So it will involve a little bit of your input, but it is definitely worth doing, especially if you are buying a phone used, to make sure it is running properly. And here you can see the whole range of diagnostics that it's going to run. So different sensors, your camera, including your battery, even your charge cable. All of that is going to diagnose and test very thoroughly to make sure that your phone is running properly and as it should. And then if anything isn't, it will pop up, and that's going to be great for you to know what may need to be repaired or what may be out of order. Alright, so the S25 is of course a very powerful phone that you want to last for many years, and a big part of that is going to be your battery health. Now throughout this video I have a lot of battery health or battery life-saving tips, but now I want to talk about the battery health, and more specifically how to extend your battery health and make your battery last longer. So for this, the first thing we're going to do is turn on a new feature called battery protection. Now to do this, we're going to jump into settings and scroll all the way to the bottom to where we find device care. Tap on that, and then we're going to tap onto battery. And then here we're going to turn on battery protection. Now with this feature on, we can actually customize this further by tapping into the menu. And here, as you can see, we do have 3 different options to choose from. Now of the 3, I suggest using adaptive, as basically what this is going to do is it's going to keep track of your typical charge habits on how you charge your phone. So let's say late at night at 10 p.m. you plug in your phone, it's going to then charge from 0% up to 80% and then wait with the remaining 20% till closer to when you typically wake up and unplug your phone, say at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. or whatever time that may be. What this does is it's going to stagger the charge your phone more slowly, thus producing less heat and thus decreasing the amount of wear on the battery, helping it last longer. Now beneath that, the third option, maximum, is really for the hardcore battery savers out there, but this will limit your battery capacity to say 80% or 95%. So you do sacrifice some battery capacity, which for me isn't a worthy trade-off. That's why I like to use adaptive, and I think this is the best option for most people. Now quickly, I do also want to talk about charging and what is the best way to charge your smartphone. Now, normally speaking, the best way to charge your phone is to use a slower charger, which means a lower watt charger. For example, a 5 watt or a 10 watt charger as opposed to a 30 or 50 watt charger, as that's going to decrease the charge speed, meaning your phone won't charge as fast and less heat will be produced, and that will help preserve your battery health, especially say overnight when you don't need to charge your phone very fast. And secondly, when you're comparing wired to wireless charging, the same is true here, where wired charging is going to be better as it's going to produce less heat. With wireless charging, you may also sometimes feel your phone getting warm. That is literally your phone warming up because of that charge method, as a lot of energy is actually lost when it comes to wireless charging. Therefore, wired charging on a lower watt charger is going to be best for preserving your battery health, and this is how I charge my phone every night. Now, that's not to say that you should never fast charge your phone. I think there are definitely instances where that's useful, like say during the day or before you leave the office or before you go out in the evening. In those cases, absolutely just quickly charge it and get a couple extra percentages. That is fine. It's really more about what you do day to day. And when you charge your phone every night, which of course most of us do, it's best to use that lower watt charger and wired connection, and this will make a big difference to prolonging your battery health. Alright, so from here I want to jump into some customization. Let's take a look at customizing the lock screen, as there are some new features here with One UI 7. So let's go ahead and jump into settings, and then we're going to scroll down to where we find wallpaper and style, and tap onto the lock screen on the left hand side. And first of all, I want to showcase a few of the new clock styles that we have here, which are actually animated. You can see the last two here on this page. Let me make them a little bit bigger. By the way, you can change the size here by tapping on the corners. And I really like these, in particularly this last one. I think it's quite a cool look. We can, of course, also change the font as well as the color, just like usual. So we can even have a gradient effect on the color if we want. And, of course, change the thickness of some of these fonts as well. Not for all of them, but some of them you can. Most favorite, though, of mine is going to be just this analog clock. I think it's kind of classic. What is also cool is that now you do have the option to drag and rotate, or rather reposition your clock and move it anywhere on the screen. This is great if, say, you want to align your wallpaper in a specific way. And just beneath that, we also have the option to add widgets. Now, normally speaking, I like to have a weather widget. I think in London that is going to be particularly useful. So I have the percentage chance for rain as well as the current temperature. Very useful to have. Now, a new feature, or rather a new widget that we have with One UI 7 is the ability to add a photo in your gallery. So as you can see, I can quickly add this, and we have a small little imprint, or rather a small section here dedicated to a specific image or an album within our phone. So let me go ahead and pick one here. So just as an example here, let me pick this photo, and as you can see, we now have a little version of that picture right within the widget. So useful if you want to have multiple photos, one as your wallpaper and then one as a widget. And then lastly, along the bottom here, we do have the option to customize these system toggles, so you can change both the left as well as the right side. Now, previously, you could use this for different apps, but now you also have a bunch of different actions that you can assign to them. So I like to have my torch set to 1, and then also the calculator, as well as here I got my camera on the left. So great to customize these, and of course you can also remove them if you like. And then of course to change your wallpaper, simply tap on the wallpaper there in the top left. I'm just going to make my clock a little bit smaller. I think that's more proportionate. And then once we're happy, go ahead and tap done, and let's see how it looks. Voila, I think that looks wonderful. Awesome. So from the lock screen, we're now going to go over to the home screen, where we do have some new widgets, designs, as well as styles and customization. So let me give you a quick example here. If we look at the weather widget, if we tap and hold it, we can now drag along these 4 corners to instantly resize the widget. Super useful. You don't have to first remove it and then bring in a new widget as well. So this, I think, is a really nice touch. And then secondly here, if I swipe over to my next page, you'll see I have a widget here with a small album. But if you look at the corners of this widget, the shape is a little bit different. So we can actually customize the shape now by tapping and holding on the widget. Tap on settings, and if we scroll down, as you can see, we can go ahead and change the shape of this widget to customize it even further. So as you can see, I've just changed the shape here to make it a little bit more unique, and I think this is a really nice sort of playful, fun way to make your phone a little bit more unique and exactly bring it to what you like. Oh yeah, one really cool new widget that I want to show you is the new countdown widget for the calendar. So if we scroll out, zoom out rather, on your home screen, we can go ahead and add a new widget. And we are going to scroll down to where we find calendar. And as you can see, we now have this whole new section for countdown. So you can have a specific date, whether that be a birthday, whether that be a public holiday, or any type of event that you're going to look forward to. We can go ahead and customize this. So simply tap and hold, then go into settings. And then here we go. We can add a specific event. You can go through your calendar's existing events. Let's say, there we go, Mother's Day. We can go and add that. We got 14 days left. And we can also change the background here. We can set a custom image or keep it as a default. Go ahead and save that. And there we go. We have 14 days left till Mother's Day. And now I want to show you the Now bar. Now, this is a new feature that comes with One UI 7, and it is really handy. It's a quick way to see app information at a glance, to track your activities. It's kind of similar to Dynamic Island on the iPhone, if you've ever used that, but this I actually find even more useful because of the positioning. It is along the bottom of the screen, making it much easier to reach with your thumb. And as you can see, I've got a audio recording going, and I can simply swipe up to see my evening brief. I've got the stopwatch going, and I can quickly cycle between these, and also rather tap on them. Oh, this is the one-handed mode. We'll look at that later. We can also tap onto these to expand, and then I can go ahead and pause or end my recording there. Then, of course, to expand, I can also tap on it again, unlock, and then that will bring me within the application. So that is the now bar. It doesn't work with all applications, but it does work quite well for certain apps. Again, for activities like your voiceovers, even things like food delivery apps will work with this, and it just allows you to get more information at a glance right on your home, or rather your lock screen. And this brings us to the upgraded quick settings panel. As you can see, if we swipe from the top right of the display, this looks a little bit different. So we now have, rather than having your quick settings and your notifications, it is now fully dedicated to your quick settings toggles. And if we swipe down from the center or left side of the display, that is where we will find your notification screen, which will fill up the entire screen. So it's nice to have the two separated now. I think it's better to have one dedicated to each, so a whole page dedicated to each, both the quick settings as well as your notifications. Now, what is even better is with this new quick settings panel is the customization. So if we go ahead and tap on the little pencil icon to customize, we can actually tap and drag whole sections of this panel and rearrange them as we see fit. This is really great. And what I also like is that we have the quick settings here. We can tap onto edit, and just like before, we can add or remove as many as we like. And of course, we can still rearrange them. So my advice is to have the ones that you use most often along the top of the display. Go ahead and tap done. And then what is also cool is you can resize this. So if you want, say, your top 4, or if you want them all to show at once, you can do that too. And if, say, you choose to have the top 8 like I do, we can tap on this little bar at the bottom to quickly expand it within your quick settings tool. So this, I think, is a really nice feature. I love seeing more customization, and this is of course an area where Samsung continues to excel. If we browse around the new One UI 7 layout, you will see that we have many new icons for applications, specifically Samsung's apps, like for example, the camera, the gallery. They all have new icons, and this is something that I really like. I like this refreshing look, and somehow makes the apps look more cohesive as well. Now, what is also cool is for the first time, we can actually change the app sizes. So to do this on the home screen, we're going to pinch out here and then tap onto settings. And then here, as you can see, we can change the app size. So I can go ahead and make it smaller. Or, let me go back here, or I can make them significantly larger as well. And what is also cool is if we go back to the same menu, I can also remove the labels, in other words, the names of those apps. And this gives you a super clean look on your phone. Of course, the icons kind of speak for themselves. So this I really like. I think the size is great here in the middle, but I like to have the app labels off, as it just gives a really minimalistic view. I kind of like it. Speaking of things I kind of like, we can now also expand folders. So this is an example here. Let me quickly shrink this back down to show you what I mean. So this is what a normal folder looks like, right? You tap onto it and then it expands, but you can actually expand it right on the home screen by tap and holding and tapping onto enlarge. And as you can see, it's then going to take up 4 app spaces as opposed to 1. But what is really neat is I can actually launch apps from here without having to first expand the folder. So it's going to save you a little bit of time and ultimately allow you to have even more icons on your home screen. Another neat feature here is that the search bar on the app drawer is now situated at the bottom as opposed to the top, something I find much more useful because your thumb is of course more along the bottom of the display, allowing you to quickly find an application without having to reach for the top of your phone. Now, on the subject of search in settings is actually going to be greatly improved. Now, do you ever have a setting that you want to change but you don't remember the exact name for it? Well, now you can search with much more natural language, as Galaxy AI is incorporated into the search app, so the settings app. So let me, for example, type in a more natural phrase. Let's say I want to type in show clock while phone is locked. Here we go. So I've now typed in this phrase, and as you can see, that's going to bring me to the lock screen and always on display settings, as that is exactly what I'm looking for. So let's say you don't know the word for always on display, simply type more naturally, show the clock when phone is locked. And as you can see, it has managed to find the setting. This, I think, is really useful if, again, you're looking for a setting and you just don't remember the name. Simply type out any more natural tone and it will find that for you. And I want to talk about multitasking. This is, of course, one of the areas where the S25 truly excels with its performance and its wonderful display. However, there are some really important settings that you change, and the first has to do with allowing multitasking for all applications, as by default, not all applications are able to run in split screen mode. So to do this, we are going to jump into settings, and then we are going to scroll down to where we find advanced features. There it is right there. And then tap into that. And then here you want to turn on, no, rather, we're first going to go into labs. Sorry about that. Then we're going to go into multi-window for all apps. And you want to make sure that this here is turned on. And this is going to enable all applications, including games, to run in split screen view. Now, I want to show you a couple of multitasking tips and tricks. So let's go back here to my YouTube as well as my Chrome window here. A great way to really just do 2 things at once on your phone. You can tap on this 3-dot menu to expand really one window over the other and basically choose how much screen space you want dedicated to each, if you want more to one or the other. Now you can also tap onto that three-dot menu. And here, tapping on the arrows is going to instantly swap them over if you want to quickly switch between them for, say, reachability. And then lastly, we can tap on this little star, and this will allow us to actually save an app pair, or basically save these two apps at once. So I can go in and save it to the home screen. And as you can see over on the home screen, we now have a new icon which combines YouTube and Chrome. And every time I tap into that, it's going to launch the same instance of app pair and also dedicate the same amount of screen space that we have set previously. So this is something I use often. In fact, here on my first page, you can see I have one saved for Chrome and YouTube. Great to be browsing the web while, say, you are watching a YouTube video in the background, and a great way to save that app pair right on the home screen. This next one is really useful if you ever hand your phone to someone, say a friend or maybe even a stranger or something, and you don't want them to go outside of that specific app. So let's say I'm showing this article here to one person, or rather this video script, but I don't want them to be able to go home and go through my messages or photos or whatever it may be. Now there is a way to actually lock an application on the screen. So this is a really great security and mostly privacy setting to enable. Now, of course, we do have to first activate this feature in the settings. And to do this, we're going to jump into settings, and then over on the main page, we're going to scroll down to where we find security and privacy. And then in here, we are going to tap into more security settings. So just simply scroll down and there it is, more security settings. And then here, we're going to turn on allow apps to be pinned. Now let's go ahead and find an application that we want to pin. So let's say this Samsung Notes app here. What you want to do is in the app switcher menu, we want to tap on the icon of the application, then tap onto pin this app. And as you can see, this app is now pinned. I'm not able to swipe home. I can't see my notifications as well as my system toggles, and I'm kind of stuck in this application. So again, for security as well as privacy, this here is super useful as it allows the person to use that single app, but not go beyond that. Now to unpin an application, you simply want to swipe up and then hold along the bottom of your display. Then it's going to be asking you to type in your PIN or to use your fingerprint to unlock and to unpin that application and access your full phone once again. This next one is really useful, especially if you're filling out an online web form and you say need to leave that application to pull up some data from your photos or wherever it may be, and you go back to the application, but you find the web page to be refreshed and you lose all of your data and you have to start all over again. Now there is a way to actually stop an application from refreshing in the background and forcing it to always stay open. So a great example here is say Chrome. Let's say I'm booking a flight or something and you don't want this to close, but you need to exit the app to find some other information. Well, to do this, what we're going to do is we're going to hold up to the app switcher, and then we are going to tap onto the icon of the application you want to keep open, and then you want to simply tap keep open. And as you can see, we now have a little lock on this application showing that it is not going to close no matter what I do on my phone. So I can go ahead and launch a completely different application. I can go into settings, whatever it may be. And as you can see, that lock stays there, which means Chrome in this case is not going to refresh and always remain open to not lose progress on whatever it is I'm doing. Now, if I want to allow this application to close once again, I can simply tap on the lock, and now the application has the ability to refresh if it needs to. So a very quick way to access and to undo this feature. Very useful, again, especially for those long web forms. Next, I want to show you Circle to Search, which is one of my favorite Galaxy AI features. Now, we have a lot of AI features that I'm going to go through in this video, but Circle to Search is probably one that I use most of all. But first, we do need to activate it. So to do this, we are going to jump into Settings, and then we're going to, on the main page of Settings here, we are going to scroll to where we find Display. And then in here, we're going to scroll down to where we find navigation. There it is, navigation bar. And then you want to make sure that Circle to Search is turned on, as this is going to enable and activate this feature. Now, what is Circle to Search? Well, basically, it allows you to search for anything on your screen. So basically, tap and hold the navigation bar here at the bottom. You'll see we got this new animation on the screen, and then I can simply search for anything that is on my screen, like this candle, for example, and it will then quickly do a Google search, finding that specific product. This is really useful if, say, you find something in a video that you want to learn more about, even a brand name, a ingredient, or a logo of something that you may not recognize. This is a very handy feature, and it works across all applications. Even here on my home screen, I can circle an app to find more information about that application if I want. I find this to be very accurate overall, and again, very useful. Even if, say, you're playing a YouTube video and you want to learn more about a product shown on screen, tap and hold that navigation bar here along the bottom, and that will give you a very easy way to instantly search. Speaking of handy AI features, the Galaxy S25s come with a new Bixby/Google Assistant hybrid that you can simply pull up by pressing and holding the side button here on your phone. And as you can see, it has come up here. And this is a really smart assistant. It is a big step up from Bixby that we had previously, and it's even better than just the standalone Google Assistant, as it kind of combines the two. And the best feature, in my opinion, is the fact that this new smart assistant also now works across different applications. So let me go ahead and show you a quick example. When is the next Pitbull concert in London, and add it to my calendar?
Okay, I'm adding the next Pitbull concert to your calendar.
Alright, so here we go. As you can see, not only has it searched the web and found the next Pitbull concert in London, it has also created an event in my calendar and added it to my calendar, showing it working across multiple apps, and in this case, actually saving me time. This is quicker to do than to Google it myself and create an event in my calendar. So this is just an example of how this new assistant is definitely smarter than it was before, and a great use case for searching up events or things like that. Another feature that is greatly improved on the S25 is the generative fill editor. So in images, to be able to remove objects from your photo, this is definitely improved on the S25 as opposed to the S24, and is now, I think, the best in the industry, even beating out, for example, Apple or those on the Pixel line. So to activate this, let's say you have a photo here, and let's say I want to remove the candle that I have in my hand. I'm going to tap on the Galaxy AI button here along the bottom, and then from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to circle the object that I want to erase. So let's say I take this candle here, do a very rough outline, and then as you can see, it's going to automatically select that candle. I can tap on the erase icon. Nope, let me do that one more time. There we go. Tap on erase, give it a second, and tap on generate, and watch it completely remove this candle from the photo. And there we go. As you can see, it did a pretty great job. Now, unlike most other generative fill editors that would have no idea what is behind the candle or what to draw, this Galaxy AI version actually knows, hey, there's a hand there. Chances are behind this candle is more of this hand, and it's actually generated some fingers for me. Now, yes, they are a little bit weird. They're a little bit slim, and the position is obviously not very natural, but it does go to show that this here is a much better variant of the generative fill editor that you get on the S25. So if there ever is something in your photo that you want to remove, be it a person, an object, whatever, I highly recommend you check it out, as it really is a lot better now. Another cool AI features within the Photos app is going to be Sketch to Image, and this lets you draw pretty much any object within your photo. So pull up a photo here like I've got, we can tap onto the Galaxy AI button, and now what I'm going to do is along the bottom here, click onto Sketch to Image, and what I can do is zoom in and draw something on this image, and here you can see my excellent drawing skills. Let's say I want to try draw a hot air balloon. Now, of course, this looks nothing like a hot air balloon, but let's see if the AI is going to be able to generate one. I certainly hope so. Let's give it a second here. And look at that, it's actually done a pretty good job on adding a hot air balloon to my picture. There you go, there's the original. That is the one, the Galaxy AI one. I'll let you guess which one I drew and which one the phone generated. This is the one I drew, of course. No, but what is really cool is actually, if you look at the level of detail, it is surprisingly impressive, also considering the fact that the sun in this image is coming from the right side. You can see that based on the buildings, and that's actually how the lighting of the balloon has been drawn as well. So the sun is coming from the same side as it is in the photo, and actually makes it look pretty damn convincing. So I think this is a really cool feature, and again, greatly improved on the S25 as opposed to last year. And now I want to show you auto writing using Galaxy AI. So this here works across different applications, in your emails, in messages, as well as notes that I've opened here. And it basically allows you to type in any prompt, and then the AI is going to generate a body of text that aligns with that. So what I can do here is tap on the Galaxy AI button that we see here. I can tap onto Composer, and I can pretty much ask it to do anything. Let's say, write me a song. There we go, and I can choose the mood as well as the tone. Let's tap onto generate and see what it comes up with. All right, so I'm not going to be singing this, but as you can see, it has just out of the blue created, or rather generated, a song about the chosen subject, in this case, about AI. All right, so now I want to pivot from the AI back to the hardware a little bit, more specifically talking about, in this case, the side button, which can be quite heavily customized on your S25, and that is something I definitely recommend you do. So to do this, we're going to jump into settings, and then over on the main page, we're going to scroll down here to where we find advanced features. There it is. And then in here, we have the side button. That's the third option. And then here you want to, first of all, enable a double press. And by default, I believe this is set to the camera, but you can also simply swipe to the right on your lock screen. So I like to have this set to something else, and I like it to set to the torch. We can also have it to set pretty much any application if we want to launch that as well. And then secondly, we also have the option to change what we want a long press to do. So by default, it's going to pull up the new digital assistant. You can even bring up Bixby for some reason, and you can also choose to bring up the power menu. Now, I like to have the new digital assistant as I find it to be quite useful as opposed to the previous version. So that's how you customize the side button. Now, earlier in the video, I accidentally showed you one-handed mode a little bit too soon, but now we're going to be looking at that in more detail. As you can see, I just quickly enabled one-handed mode, and what it essentially does is shrink your display by about 50%, making it much easier to reach the other side of your screen with one hand or those top corners. But to enable this feature, we first have to enable it in the settings, and to do this, we're going to tap onto Settings, scroll back down to where we find Advanced Features, and then in here, we are going to tap onto one-handed mode, and you want to make sure that this here is turned on. Now, to activate one-handed mode, what you want to do is do a small swipe along the bottom of the display down, as you can see, like so, and that's then going to shrink the display. We can also move it to the left or right side. So if you're left-handed like me, it might be nice to have it on the left side. You can also move it to the right if you like as well, and we can even reposition it along the display. But again, if you're walking down a busy road, you got a coffee in one hand, you got your phone in the other, this is a great way to use your phone or send that message using just one hand. And to re-expand your display, simply swipe down along the bottom of the screen. That takes a little bit of practice. There we go. And now your screen has been fully expanded once more. And now I want to talk about the always on display, more specifically ways to make it even better. So to do this, we're going to jump into settings and then scroll down here to where we find lock screen and AOD. AOD is always on display. And then in here, we can tap onto always on display. First, you want to make sure it is turned on. Then we can tap into it. And then here we have the option to first show or hide your wallpaper. Now this can be nice to have on. Personally, I do like to have this off though, because I find having it on can be a little bit distracting, making the screen just a bit too bright. Plus it does also take more battery. So I actually like to have this off, and you can also show or hide the now bar, something that I like to have on. Now, an important setting beneath that is when you want your always on display to show. So here you have a few different options to choose from, and I actually suggest you select auto, as auto is useful because it's going to detect when your phone is in, say, your pocket or when it's on your nightstand or say in your purse or something, and it's going to then disable the always on display to save your battery. But then when it is not, it's going to enable it so you still get the most out of that feature. So I would suggest you change this to auto. And this brings me over to sound and vibration, more specifically improving both here on the Galaxy S25. So to do this in settings, we're going to scroll to where we find sound and vibration. And first of all, we can actually change the vibration intensity. So if we tap on that, we can, as you can see, assign the vibration intensity for different types of vibrations that may come onto your phone. So for example, important things like your calls and notifications, I suggest turning all the way up. But then less important things like your media and system notifications, I like to turn down. So this way, based on the vibration, I can kind of know what's coming in before I even take the phone out of my pocket. So that there is really handy. And then secondly, we're going to improve the sound quality. So if we scroll down here to where we find sound quality and effects, you want to make sure that Dolby Atmos is turned on. Now this here is turned off by default. I really don't know why, because this will greatly improve your frequency range and the ultimate sound quality that you get from your phone, specifically when you're using headphones. So I definitely recommend you turn this on. And then for those that want it, beneath that we do also have an equalizer, allowing you to set a custom EQ depending on what you listen to. So we have a couple of presets here, but I like to keep mine on balance, but that's where that feature is in case you are looking for it. Right, so one of the best features of the S25 is, of course, this gorgeous display. Samsung leads the industry when it comes to the displays, I think, and the S25 is a great example of that. But we can make this display even better by fine-tuning some key settings. So to do this, we're going to go into settings and tap on display. And then first here, we can choose between light as well as dark mode. Now, personally, I like to have light mode on during the day, and then I set it to dark mode at night. So you can actually set a schedule here. If we tap onto dark mode settings, we can set a schedule based on a time or even in accordance with the sun. So it's evening now, so it will naturally go to the dark mode, but I like to turn this on based on my own custom schedule. Very useful. Beneath that, we can also change the brightness, of course, and we can turn on or off adaptive brightness, basically auto brightness. Now, this is something that I definitely recommend you turn on. I find this to work really well in bright scenarios. It will brighten up the screen enough, and in dark scenarios, it will then definitely dim it enough. Now, of course, I have it off here because I am filming, but normally speaking, I definitely suggest you turn this on, as it also saves you battery over time. And beneath that, if we tap onto motion smoothness, we're actually able to change the refresh rate of the display. So we can go ahead and change it to either adaptive or standard. Now, standard is going to lock it at 60 Hertz, which is decent, but honestly, I don't see a reason why you would want it to be on standard. I think adaptive is much better because it's going to be a much smoother refresh rate, as it will go up to 120 Hertz, but actually saves power by decreasing the refresh rate down to all the way down to 1 Hertz with, say, you are on a static image like some text. So this gives you really the best of all worlds. So definitely make sure that this is set to adaptive. You'll feel a massive difference, particularly when you're scrolling. It just creates a much smoother feel, and also when you're gaming, it's great too. So definitely keep it over on adaptive. And beneath that, we have Eye Comfort Shield. So if I go ahead and activate that, as you can see, the screen kind of becomes a little bit warmer, a little bit yellow. What this does is it's going to help remove some of the blue light that your screen emits, which particularly at night can impact your sleep. It can also cause things like soreness in your eyes. So it can be nice to turn on. I actually do use this most of the time. The one time that I do turn this off is, say, when I am recording videos, when I want my screen to be accurate, color accurate, or if, say, I am editing any photos or videos and I don't want there to be any changes to the colors. But other than that, Eye Comfort Shield is nice to have on. And beneath that, we have screen mode. This essentially kind of similar to, well, not really similar to Eye Comfort Shield, but it impacts the colors of your display in a sense that you can choose how vibrant you want the colors to look. So if I tap it to neutral, you can see in these example images here, the colors are a little bit more toned down. Or if I go into vibrant or vivid rather, they're a little bit extra. They pop a little bit more. And I think particularly on this screen, it looks really nice. So I like to have it set to vivid. And beneath that, we have the screen timeout setting. Now this here is really important, I think, based on how quickly you want your phone to turn off when you're no longer using it, or rather the display to go dark. So of course, the shorter you set it, the better for your battery life and also security. If, say, you leave your phone somewhere and it happens to be unlocked, you can know that it locks more quickly. And of course, you can also turn this down to 10 minutes. So personally, I like to have this set anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes. I think that's sort of the sweet spot. And then going down here, another important setting that I want to show you is the Edge panel. Now, Edge panel, I think it is definitely an underrated feature on the Galaxy phones, and it's something I definitely suggest you turn on. So you want to first turn it on to activate it, and then from here, we can go ahead and choose what information we want on the panel. So we can have different pages even of contacts, of applications, all that great stuff. So I like to have it just basically set to some applications. And here we can also change the handle, so we can go ahead and reposition it, have it higher or lower on the screen, change the color as well. Now I like to have mine a little bit higher up on the left side. This way, when I'm holding my phone with my left hand, I don't accidentally trigger it, but I can still easily reach it. You can see, bring it up here to quickly find different applications. I can expand it as well to pull up even more applications. And if I want to customize what is in my Edge panel, I can tap on this little pencil mark here to add more apps. So let's say I want to remove the internet browser, throw in Chrome, and as you can see here, there we go, Chrome is now there, and I've customized this Edge panel. So a really underrated feature that I think you should definitely activate on your phone. Another feature that I feel very strongly about is the navigation bar. Now, by default, you will have this button layout, and this is what we've been used to on Android for many years. Of course, very standard, very commonly seen way of navigating your phone, but I much prefer the swipe gestures. First of all, because it takes up much less screen space. You can see it just has this small bar here at the bottom, taking up less screen than having those 3 buttons. And secondly, it also enables some really useful shortcuts. For example, we can actually swipe along the bottom of the display, as you can see, to quickly cycle between our recently opened applications. So this, I think, is super handy, and you only have this if you switch over to the swipe gesture. So definitely make sure that you do that. And next, I want to talk about one of the biggest battery saving tips on the Galaxy S25, or really any smartphone, and that is to do an audit of your notifications. So to do this, we're going to go into your settings, tap onto notifications, and then we're going to tap onto app notifications. And here you can enable or disable which applications you want to send you notifications. Now, this is important for 2 reasons. First, of course, for battery, because every time a notification comes in, right, your screen will turn on, your phone will vibrate, and your speaker may turn on if you're not on silent mode. And this really takes up a lot of battery. If you add it up over dozens of notifications, even over 100 notifications per day, so this really adds up. So my suggestion is to audit this and limit this. And the second reason why this is important, aside from battery life, is of course for your mental health, right? Because you won't be bothered as much throughout the day. I don't like to get distracted by my phone when I don't need to. So this way, when a notification comes in, chances are it will be relatively important and not, say, Mario Kart reminding me about a race or something. Instead, it could be a messenger or say a meeting invite or whatever it may be, right? Something more important when my phone goes off. So definitely something I suggest you do too for battery as well as for your own mind. Next, I want to show you how to create a widget stack, as this is a really useful way to have multiple widgets within the same space and be able to quickly cycle between them. You can see here, I've got my calendar as well as one for the reminders. So let me show you how to create this. So first we're going to pinch out, tap onto widgets, and then we're going to add multiple widgets here. So let's say, let's throw in this calendar widget here, or rather the countdown widget, and go ahead and bring that over to the next page here. There we go. And then let's go ahead and add a second widget of the same size. So let's say I'm going to do a battery widget here. Go ahead and add that in. And as you can see, now we have two separate widgets of the same size. And this, of course, takes up more screen space. But what we can do is actually drag them over top each other. And as you can see, we've now created a widget stack, allowing you to quickly cycle between them. And it only takes up one space on your home screen. And then we can also tap and hold, and we can actually edit the stack as well. So if we do that, we can add or remove different apps from the stack. And I can also tap and hold, tap on edit here. And this here will also allow me to edit the background for each of the applications, as well as the shape once again, to customize this even further. So creating a widget stack is a great way to have multiple widgets on your screen, saving you even more space and get more functionality out of your home screen. Now I want to show you how to create AI generated wallpapers right on your S25. So to do this, we are going to jump into settings, and then from here, we are going to go into the wallpaper and style. And then here we're going to tap onto change wallpapers. And then we're going to scroll down to where we find create with AI. And then here we can tap onto generative. And this will allow us to generate a wallpaper completely from scratch using the built-in AI. So here we have a couple of examples of some of the previous generations I've made. But let's say you want to make a new one. Let's pick a theme here. Let's go with night. And then we can actually change some of these keywords. So let's say indigo and distant mountain rage. Let's go ahead and go for a beach. And then with ice, no, instead of ice, let's do flowers. Very interesting. Let's see what it comes up with. We'll tap on generate, and let's see what it will create. All right, so very abstract indeed. I kind of like this one here, showing the beach with the flowers there along the edge. And as you can see, this will fully generate multiple examples of wallpapers to choose from. I think it does this definitely a lot faster than it did on the previous S24. And as you can see, it will then preview whether you want to apply to both your lock screen as well as your home screen. And of course, we can change these keywords at any time to change things up if, say, we want a different look. So this is kind of fun to play around with. And again, because it is AI generated, every time you do this, the results will be different. Some are going to be better than others, but occasionally I think you do get some pretty neat ones. And I want to show you some useful features for AI in the Notes application. So here I have a portion of one of my scripts from one of my recent videos over on my main channel. And what I can actually do is use the Galaxy AI button here. So I can go and tap on that. And as you can see, I have a different range of format options. So I can actually change the format. I can also summarize it. So let's tap on that to show you what that looks like. I can go ahead and tap to generate the summary. And as you can see, it's then going to give me a really nice bullet point layout here, summarizing the most important points of this body of text, making it much easier and quicker to read. And of course, I like that it focuses particularly on some of the numbers, as that's going to be most important. And I like that it separates them in different points, again, making it easier to read. Now, also, we can go ahead and check for any type of spelling or grammar fixes that it may want to do. So let's see what it comes up with here. So as you can see, it definitely has some suggestions for commas and as well as some numbers to add. Let me see here. So it's, and then we've got lap and then as, so capitalize. Another feature I want to show you here is if we tap on Galaxy AI, we also have auto format, and this will actually change the format of the existing text so we can make it into headers and bullets or notes. So let's do headers and bullets and see what that looks like. And this should make this plain paragraph or 2 paragraphs of text much easier to read. So I like that it even has a title there. It has subheadings and then bullet points underneath, making it much easier to read without losing information. So this here is super useful if, say, you want to summarize or make a body of text simply more enjoyable to read rather than having plain text. So this works especially well in the Notes app, but will also work across different applications on your S25. And again, the button you want to look out for here is that 3-star little Galaxy AI button that you'll see throughout your phone. And in this case here, it also allows you to translate, which is also handy as well. But I find particularly the auto format and the summarize options to be most useful. And this brings me to a really important part of this video, and that is some essential security settings to change. So first of all, we're going to turn on app protection. And to do this, we're going to jump into settings, scroll all the way to the bottom to where we find device care. And then in here, we are going to scroll to where we find app protection and turn this on. Now, for whatever reason, this is off by default, but I definitely suggest you turn this on, as basically what this is going to do is periodically in the background, scan your phone for any type of malware. And if it finds anything, it will then identify it for you and allow you to remove it from there. So this is especially important, I think, for anyone, but especially if you say sideload applications from outside the Google Play Store and things may just be a little bit more risky. So having this here is great to have it in the background, and you can also do a manual scan at any point as well. So this here is something that I definitely recommend. And I want to briefly talk about the lock screen. So if we go into settings here, then let's go into the lock screen. There it is, lock screen and AOD. And in here, we can tap onto screen lock and biometrics. And in here, we're going to type in our PIN. And here we can go ahead and choose different types of basically ways to access your phone, whether that be through pins or through your biometrics. Now, first of all, of course, the pin is going to be most secure here. I see a lot of people still use the pattern, but actually the pin will be more secure than that. So that's what I would recommend. And then secondly here, when it comes to biometrics, I strongly encourage you to go over the take the fingerprints as opposed to facial recognition. Now, the facial recognition on the S25 is reasonably good, but it is nowhere as secure as, say, it is on the iPhone. It doesn't use that 3D matrix to scan your face. It is much more primitive than that. So I really encourage you to choose the ultrasonic fingerprint sensor that the S25 comes with, and that is excellent and also much more secure and fast. So I definitely recommend you use that, and also add multiple fingers. Add both of your thumbs, for example, and your index fingers. That way, regardless of how you pick up your phone, you can quickly and easily unlock it. So these two are the most secure ways to lock, or rather unlock your phone. Now, another one I want to show you is within notifications. So if we go back to where we find notifications on the main page here, and then tap onto lock screen notifications, and then here we have the option to show or hide the content. Now, let me give you an example. So let's say you have a message coming in, and if you have show content turned on, it's going to show you, one, that you have a message, and two, it will show you the actual content of that message, even if your phone is locked. So this is something I definitely suggest you don't have. Instead, I would suggest you tap on hide content, as this means it will show you that a message has come in, but it won't show you the content until your phone is locked. So for privacy and also security, this here is great to make sure is turned on. Now, this next one is really useful if, say, ever you have your phone lost or stolen, as this is a very powerful way to help protect your data. So to do this, what we're going to do is go into settings, and then we're going to scroll down to where we find lock screen and always on display. And then we're going to go into the secure lock settings. There it is. And then in here, we're going to first type in our PIN. And here we have the option to auto factory reset after 20 incorrect attempts to unlock your phone. Now, if someone steals your phone, chances are they're going to try to brute force their way in by guessing your password. This means that after 20 failed attempts, your phone will automatically factory reset and also erase all of your data, meaning that when your phone is lost or stolen and no longer safe, at least your data will be and protected, as it will just eventually erase itself. Now, this is something I recommend for most people, but also not all. For example, if you are a parent with young kids who may want to unlock your phone and try to get their way in, you don't want your data to be erased often, or if, say, you have friends who may want to do this to you as well. So do think carefully about this, but I think for many people, this is a really nice peace of mind feature that I definitely turn on all of my phones. Next, I want to show you how to turn on a feature that will make your passwords invisible. You know how when you're typing out a password, it will briefly show you each character as you type it? Well, there is a way to turn this off, making it much more secure if, say, someone's looking at your phone while you're typing in an important password. So to do this, what we're going to do is go into settings and then type onto password privacy and security. There it is, security and privacy. And then in here, we're going to tap onto more security settings. And then here you want to turn off make passwords visible, and this will make your passwords invisible. It's not going to show you a brief preview as you type them, making it again more secure, especially if you're out in public and you find yourself typing in your password. And there you have it. Thank you so much for watching this video, and congratulations for making it to the end. You're now officially a Galaxy S25 Pro. If you have enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to see more content like this in the future. And if you have any questions, please leave them down below and I'll get back to as many as I can. Thank you so much for watching, and take care.